Everybody, good morning. Welcome to United View. Welcome to not even really a transfer view, not even really a transfer view because there is way more important things to talk about right now than transfers, especially at the top of the show, especially with the meat of the show, especially with what's going on with the potential sale of our football club, especially with what's going on with the potential for the Glazers to sell our football club and finally give us what we want. I didn't get a chance to speak yesterday. Owen did, covered it really, really well. And the fallout from that um, is a lot more discussion, a lot more support for Sir Jim Ratcliffe, a lot more pushing this movement, a lot more getting behind it, and a lot more kind of information is starting to come out about where we currently are, where the Glazers stand on this. And I think it's really, really important to get into this because something is happening. And I think, once we got the nightly situation out the way where you could see that was just nothing. You could see it just wasn't organized. It wasn't proper. It didn't have all the right facets to me to kind of facilitate a move to kind of get the Glazers out of power. But this one does. This one feels different. In the words of KG, it does feel different. No banter. It really does. And I think we're in a really interesting position. There's been lots of cries from other fan channels and other people online and all the fans to say, let's unite, let's get behind it, and let's see what this movement can do. I think we've been waiting for that one key movement to be able to really get behind in terms of somebody who could rival the Glazers to get them out of power in this football club. And it looks like we have a genuine contender in that, and we have to see how this pans out. But I think it's just really important that we're on the same page. And talk about this. So yeah, smash a like on the video. You lot subscribe to the channel if you're new. Get your comments in. Let us know how you're feeling. And Owen, let's get into this. I mean, what do we have story wise, in terms of anything that's moved on from yesterday, and where are we currently at?
So there's a little bit of extra information. Obviously, the big news came out from the Times last night, an exclusive. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, his spokesperson, saying he would be interested in purchasing a stake in Manchester United with a view for long-term ownership or full ownership if, and that's the big point of this, if the Glazers would be open to selling Manchester United. Now, since then, we've had other outlets essentially confirm this. Kaveh Solikol from Sky Sports has said Sir Jim Ratcliffe is interested in buying Manchester United once again if the club is for sale. One source says Sir Jim is serious and former players would be involved, along with Sir Dave Brailsford. United have declined to comment about rumours and speculation. Now, Samuel Lutkers from the Manchester Evening News has said that Manchester United are not commenting on Sir Jim Ratcliffe's desire to buy Manchester United from the Glazer family. It's not clear whether the Glazers would be open to selling Manchester United altogether, although financial sources believe they will have to eventually bring in an investor or sell to improve the club's cash flow. Now, this is where it does get quite interesting because a lot of people are saying something needs to happen financially with Manchester United because we're on the precipice of major investment being needed when it comes to the stadium, when it comes to the training ground, when it comes to the playing squad, when it comes to lots of different aspects of the club. And of course, the Glazers don't invest. They don't put their own money into the club. Therefore, where are they going to get this money from? Is it going to be from a complete takeover, or is it going to be from a minority owner and investment from another company? Because the Mail are also reporting that the Glazer family have entered into exclusive talks with US private equity firm Apollo to sell a minority stake in Manchester United. Although the Glazers are not prepared to cede control of Manchester United, brothers Avram and Joel are expected to keep their shares and oversee the day-to-day running of Old Trafford. However, other family members are understood to want out. So you've almost got this division within the family, within the ownership of people
Good,
going, actually,
good,
I want
good.
out. But these people that are running it day to day, Joel and Avram, are saying, actually, no, we don't want to concede full power, but they need money. Now, any deal for the Glazers to sell a minority stake of Manchester United to Apollo is not expected to be concluded until next month at the earliest. It's understood Apollo may bring in other investors as part of any deal. So you've kind of got two situations here. The Glazers have two options. They clearly, as Samuel Lutkers said, they need money at this point. Manchester United need cash flow because there's lots of different aspects of Manchester United that require money that the Glazers don't have. So either they do this situation where they get a minority owner and they get investment from outside. Richard Arnold also said it, remember, when he was in the pub with those people, he said, if we're going to improve the stadium, if we're going to improve the training ground, what do we need? We need sponsors. We need sponsors.
One or the
And by
other,
sponsors, by sponsors, he means outside investment. And it depends now where that comes from. Does it come
Well, he
from...
said Spurs didn't just magic up the money. He said it, didn't he? He said Spurs didn't just get it.
Does it come from a minority owner, or does it come from, and this is why Sir Jim Ratcliffe, I think, was so clever with some of the words that came out last night. He said stadium modernization, redevelopment. He said chaos by poor recruitment. He said time for a reset. He said all of these things. Basically,
what it means to the city, you know?
Yeah, he basically said,
like
look, you need to kind of get out now, or you're going to have to put your hand in your pocket. And I know you don't want to do that. And I'm happy to do that. So that's why really now, that's why the title is sell now or never. When it comes to the Glazers, they will never get, in my opinion, especially if they leave things how they are, they will never get as much money from Manchester United today that they possibly could in a couple of years' time. The value's going down. The facts are there. So you're right. This is a time that we have to all, unite. We have to all get behind this because, previously when people have been campaigning for change in ownership, the general consensus has been, well, the Glazers don't want to sell. But for the first time, there was a crack in the armor and there is a desire to sell, at least partially. So, it does feel like it's now or never, doesn't it?
It does. It does feel like it's now or never, and it has that feel to it. And we've campaigned against it a long time, to the point where some people had, we don't give up, but it's almost like not a daily occurrence. It kind of spikes in highs and lows when the club does particularly bad. More voices come out, more fan groups get made, and more groups congregate and push against the Glazers. Then it kind of goes back a little bit. Obviously, we had the first one against Brighton. That was somewhat of a decent protest. You had the big ones around the Super League, which involved a lot of clubs, not just our owners. And that was a catalyst for collapsing that. And if we take anything from that Super League situation, I know it's not across all clubs, but it proves that if fans come together at a high, rapid rate, change can happen. It can. I know there's the side of, clearly, because we're this long into, 15 years, 17 years, that the Glazers have been in charge
17
since
years,
2005, 17 years-ish. And they've still been there, and we wanted them to sell for that long. So clearly you could argue, well, fans, it doesn't matter, they do what they want. And, we've been in a position for many, many years where we have said the Glazers don't want to sell. They just don't want to sell. They're going to keep running this football club into the ground. And we've seen it steadily decline. Steady. Because 3 years ago we were saying it, 5 years ago we were saying it, 10 years ago we were saying it, even when we were still good. We've been saying it. And now it looks like all of that has reached its pinnacle. All of that, like I say, the pressure bust pipe. And it looks like the pipe is about to burst. And it almost looks like you said, there's something going on there where the Glazers are like, this could be our best chance. You don't get these murmurs. When it first started with the Nightly situation, you were like, that doesn't sound right. Going on YouTube channels and saying this and saying that. And I saw some stuff that Stephen Howson was doing and kind of exposing some of the stuff that he was saying. It didn't make sense. And it just
asking questions, really, wasn't it?
Asking questions.
And with no answers, really. That was the crux of it.
And it didn't feel right, did it? It was more like he was, I don't know. My movie thing isn't top, but it was like he was trying to get an Avengers Assemble to get together. He was trying to get people to. I think he wasn't really the guy. It was
I think he spoke to ITV and he said essentially, my real aim was to smoke out Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
Yeah,
to basically do that. And you go,
get him to
clearly it wasn't really a bid then. In reality,
it wasn't. It was like a rallying cry. Put up the bat signal, put up the Ratcliffe signal, put up the rat signal. Yeah. And hopefully he'll come calling, and it looks now we can claim that he can. But anyway, forget about him. What's important is this guy there in the bottom right hand corner, because people are saying that he tried to buy Chelsea before, which he did, and even when he was trying to buy Chelsea, I remember watching that interview when they said, "Why don't you buy Man United?" And he said, "Because it's not for sale." And you look at, he owns Nice, he owns the cycling company that used to be the cycling team that used to be Team Sky. And is
partner with Mercedes, I believe, as well.
Partner with Mercedes because with that as well. And he's a Manchester United fan. And that it was interesting to hear some of the reports that were saying that was like a statement of intent to buy Chelsea, just to say, listen, I can buy a Premier League football club, like I can. Like, okay, he lost out to Todd Bowley, that's fine, but he was there in the running with a bid. Like, he had the P's. And Chelsea obviously cost less than us. I think what did Chelsea get bought for? 4 billion or 3?
4 billion, something like that. And again, as you
Yeah.
mentioned, in
Man
that,
United's what, 6?
yeah, six. The rumors, well, 5 billion pounds, $6 billion dollars, something in that region. And as you mentioned, a lot of people said at the time when he came in and did the Chelsea bid, a lot of people said that's odd because it was so late. The deadline had passed and there were multiple other consortiums and bidders involved. And a lot of people said at the time, why were you so late? And he kind of said, well, I was just checking if it was something I really wanted to do, blah, blah, blah. And some people read it as, in reality, it was just him being public saying, look, if the Glazers want to sell, I've got the money. And that's what last night basically was. If the Glazers want to sell, I can purchase. So the ball, really for the first time, is firmly in the Glazers' court, which is why, again, you talk about these protests, you talk about Monday. That's why it's so important now, because not only would you be sending a message, as it were, but there is legitimately offer on the there's not an offer on the table, but there is certainly a statement of intent out there publicly. It's a big deal for someone like Sir Jim Ratcliffe to go public and state his desire to purchase Manchester United. That's called pressure. Now, I've seen a lot of people on social media say, well, why wouldn't he just put in a bid? Why wouldn't he just put in a bid? It doesn't matter. Why would you do it public? Because it doesn't work like it does not work like that. As a lot of people said, football clubs are rarely just, oh, they're up for sale. It doesn't really work like that. It's about, having discussions. It's about having conversations. Those conversations and putting together those bids takes time and money. So the fact that he would go public last night is almost an inclination. He has clearly heard something. He has clearly heard something through his contacts, through the people in the financial world. When you've got major financial outlets like Bloomberg saying essentially, there is, the Glazers would be open to this, then he has heard those same things and thought, right, I'll put something out there. Let me test their resolve. Let me see how serious they really are. As he said, I'd be open to having discussions with them. So that is something we just haven't heard before, realistically, for a long time.
No, we haven't. And it's interesting that you see from Bloomberg, like you said, it started. I think when you get financial companies, they don't give a shit about transfers and rumors and what
football.
They don't give a shit about football. Yeah, they don't give a shit about football. They care about stocks and shares and markets and FTSE 100s and NASDAQs and New York Stock Exchanges. That's what Bloomberg, that's what they are. They're financial. When they start coming with sources saying, the Glazers are up for selling the minority side of it. I mean, even that, because there's two ways of looking at that. It's, I don't want to put my money in my pocket to get us out of this mess, so we need help. So let's get someone else in to put money in their pocket. So again, you could look at it like they're dodging spending money, which is, with the track record of the Glazers, let's say it's that, because that's what it will be. They won't be doing it for the good of the club. We understand that it really needs this, and this, and we can't really do it. So we're really going to get the help in to make Manchester United better again. Spare us the bullshit. We know it's not that. It'll be because they don't want to put their own money in the pocket and get shit done. They'd rather somebody else come in and help them do it. So let's go with that. But even that, I suppose there's a slight positive with that as well, because it's relinquishing something. It's not what we want. And I love what Jim Ratcliffe's statement was saying, was basically, happy at taking basically some part of it with the view to taking all, or happy to take all if it's for sale. Like you said, real statement of intent, not just happy to just be a sponsor and a bit part player to get the roof fixed. This is genuinely trying to change Manchester United forever for the better. But it was interesting to hear, is it that Apollo group, another American group that they're trying to maybe
Apollo,
discuss with, to sell,
they themselves
off
could bring in more investors or something like
Yeah.
that. But that's that's what it feels like. Clearly, the Glazers have punched the numbers or put the numbers together, and they've seen what is on the horizon with the stadium, with the training ground, with the playing squad, with lots of different aspects of United. Clearly, they have seen there needs to be investment. And one, we can't do it, or two, we won't do it because we've never done it. And now that's why they're exploring those options. I think clearly their preference would be a minority investor, a minority owner, because they retain control and they can still keep taking money out of the club and they can stay in charge. But eventually that money will dry out, or eventually you have to think, even if they get a minority owner, their control lessens a little bit. And if this Apollo is going to bring in investment as well, then surely logically, eventually they would have to, it could get to a point where they cede control anyway. And basically,
Yeah.
And again, Jim Ratcliffe's almost saying, take the money now. Take the money
Take it now.
now.
This is the best chance you're ever going to get. And the reason why, excuse me, the reason why I believe this is different is because you had some murmurs and rumors in the last 7 days that, oh, maybe something could happen. I was on that TalkSport show with John Smith a few days ago. And again, really well connected guy.
Came out of nowhere.
Honestly, so unprovoked at the end of a really good interview, actually. Fascinating guy. Just offered up that opinion, really. It was an opinion. It wasn't him saying it will happen. He said, oh, and by the way, I just have a feeling that. Then literally people kind of take that soundbite and run with that and say TalkSport said this or whatever, that's fine. And then literally 24 hours later, you get the Bloomberg stuff and stuff actually happening. And more importantly, you get the Times, that Times exclusive with Jim Ratcliffe saying, right, I've got everything in place. I'm ready to speak and launch this attack. Because that's what this is. This is a strategic attack on the Glazers' grip of Manchester United and loosening their grip, if anything, completely ripping their grip away from the club. This is the strategic plan of doing that. And it starts by that first move there. Go to a major public publication, respected, which the Times pretty much is. They don't really get involved in sort of, rumors, and they're not like the Sun or anything like that. They're a different type of paper. Be strong, be clear in his words, have strong statements, have a lot of buzzwords in there. And what I will say, just to fast forward to Monday night, is what I will say on this is I've never been big on telling fans what they must and what they mustn't do. I've always tried to stay away from that. Not because I don't want change, not because I don't want the Glazers out, just because I feel that, one, I'm not big enough or qualified enough within the fabrics and DNA of Manchester United to be telling people the best way to do this. I'm happy to learn. I'm happy to be part of it. And I'm happy to move forward and help where we can as a platform or where we can as fans. Like I said, I can't even see what one of the main groups at 1958 are doing publicly because I'm blocked. I can't actually see. That's people talking about uniting the fan base and stuff like that. I can't even see the posts. I'm blocked. But what I'm saying is that's why I don't feel like I'm qualified to be doing that. But what I will say, now I've seen this, in my opinion, I just feel like this holds weight now because if anything, Monday night is massive. It's massive. It's already not about the Liverpool game. It's already not about the Liverpool game. It's about the scenes and like a sea of fans peacefully protesting and in the right way, showing a message. And actually, because I don't think the stadium will be completely empty, actually, Owen, I'll be honest, I think there's mileage in both things happening. I know one's got to give, but imagine how powerful it'll be for huge banners broadcast live across the world during the game in the stands, in the Sir Alex Ferguson stand, in the East stand, in the Bobby Charlton stand, not just the Stretford end in the Red Army section where they, unveil, powerful banners. Imagine the whole stadium. There was a way to get the whole stadium involved in like massive banners all around, top tier, bottom tier, middle tier. So that on the TV screens, especially because the camera's facing the Sir Bobby Charlton stand, yes, okay, you've got the directors in that bit, so it's not going to be there. But how powerful would it be for there to be banners across there and show like a powerful message in game for the people that are going to go to the game, people who want to voice their frustrations and opposition against the Glazers, live across millions of that game is going to be the most watched game this weekend in the world. So yes, the coverage outside the ground will work. What about inside the ground, guys? What about that? Like that could work too. That's what I'm saying. I'm not telling people you must boycott or you must not. I'm not saying that. I'm saying get behind whatever movement you want to get behind, but be vocal.
Use everything.
But I'm saying let's maximize the exposure. What do you guys think in the comments? Let me know.
Yeah, not like you said, not just inside the stadium, not just outside the stadium. Of course, not everyone can get to the stadium. Make your voice heard on social media. Do whatever you can. And to be honest, as well, we talk about.
Oh, sorry, just really quickly. Sorry, the cameras face Sir Alex Ferguson stand. Sorry, other way around. They do. They face. Yeah, because you don't see the dugout. Sorry, the other way. So that's even bigger because that's the biggest stand. Imagine if in the Sir Alex Ferguson stand, all in that. Like, I would happily hold up a massive, but I sit there like row 6, near the halfway line. So, like, why not? Why not? Why couldn't we do that? Sorry to cut you off there, but yeah, I got it the wrong way around.
Yeah, but also as well, I was just saying, with this thing with the minority ownership, make your voice heard that you don't want that. Like, make no mistake, the minority ownership is a get out of jail free card for the Glazers. They need money, and if they get a minority ownership, an investor to pay what they need to pay for, they're still in charge. That is a get out of jail free card. Make your voice heard any way you can, and make it known that we don't want someone coming in and paying a little bit of money to bail you out. We want you gone. we don't. We want change in ownership. We want complete reset. And as you mentioned, get behind whatever you want to get behind. I don't think we can come on here and tell you what to do, or say that if you don't or do participate makes you any less of a fan or anything like that. Because I think that's quite dangerous to say. But I think the message throughout anyone in the fan base should be that this really is, like you were saying before, this really does feel like the precipice of any protest or any voices being heard has weight now. But previously, those protests, of course, were viable and of course held weight, but now they hold even much more weight. Those protests before were a rallying cry and call for someone to do something. Someone has, or someone is beginning to do something right now. So now that pressure, on top of having a statement of intent on the table, that pressure of having a fan base that doesn't want the ownership there, that's had enough and is telling and voicing their opinion of not just we want to change in ownership, we don't even want outside investment. We want complete reset. That is the message that clearly needs to be sent. And now, like you said, Monday, I know it's a big game and I know it's Liverpool, but if anything, it's just the backdrop. It's just the backdrop, and it's just happenstance that is going to be the game that's one of, if not the most viewed game of the season. So the spotlight is truly on Old Trafford and everyone that is going to be there and everyone around the world, because again, it'll be a trending topic. So you can get your
100%.
voices heard. You can do whatever you can.
Yeah,
So
get involved on social media, 100%.
100%.
Another
And
interesting thing,
you do
Owen.
have, sorry, just to finish up,
Yeah,
you
go
do
on.
have to also say that even in this point in time, you could argue that Sir Jim Ratcliffe isn't the favourite to make this thing happen. So you have to get behind it. You have to
Yeah.
make sure that those within the club, those aspects of the Glazer family that won out, they're absolutely confirmed in it. Oh yeah, we definitely won out because we don't want to deal with this anymore.
100% agree with you there. One thing we haven't touched on yet, which I found interesting to hear as well, is the involvement of ex-players in this. Um, you know, that is interesting, because if you was to think of ex-players who are, really wealthy, and would be up for doing that, there's a few that come to mind straight away, isn't there, in terms of the class of 92. Look what they did with Salford. You look at what Gary Neville's done and how vocal he is against the owners at the moment. Could you reel in David Beckham? Um, Obviously, the other main guy of the class of 92 has got a lot of legal stuff going on right now, so let's leave his name out of it. But um, if you look at that class of 92, especially with Beckham and Neville, and this is just me speculating, I haven't seen that it's them, but when you just read that, ex players could be involved in this, is that financially? Is that an advisory role? Are they part of a bid? Are they putting in some money as well to help out? Are they helping the strategy of the best way to do this? Like, it's interesting to see what that is, because sometimes we get quite critical of our legends, when things have been going wrong at the football club with managers, and when the blame game's being played, and the truth is that it's all to blame, that all these problems coexist, whether the blame's on the players, whether it's on the recruitment team, whether it's on the Glazers. Ultimately, we all agree on one unanimous thing, that the fish rots from the head down. It is the top. That's the fundamental failings of the football club over many years. It's the Glazers. They put players there. They allow players to be bought and kept, rightly and wrongly. They've been part of runners into the ground. They're the reason why the stadium hasn't been updated. They're the reason why Carrington is now one of the surplus training facilities in the league now. They're the reason why the women's team wasn't getting the money that it was supposed to get when only recently. They're the reason for all these things, the Glazers. So what did you make of that, hearing the fact that some of the ex-players can be involved, and how important could that be, really?
Anyone with a platform, really. Gary Neville, after the game, was it last week or the week before? I forget. Well, either way, they were talking to him after one of the games. I think it was the Brentford game, and he said, the time has come for the Glazer family to sell the club. And you think about it,
No, he
that's
said that after the
the
first
first
game. He
game,
said that
first game, yeah,
when he was
first
at
game
West Ham
with
and we
West
was
Ham.
at
That's right,
Brighton.
yeah,
We beat
yeah.
Brighton, yeah.
And you think, again, that's Sky Sports. That's a major platform. That's millions of people watching, and just keep saying it. Keep saying it. Keep putting it out to the masses. I mean, he's on commentary. I don't know if there are rules of what he can and can't say on commentary, but if he really wants to go for it, job be damned. Gary Neville's fine. Just keep sending over that message. And if you were an ex-player or you're anyone that their voice has weight to it, come out, do an interview saying, oh yeah, I'm behind Jim Ratcliffe's bid. Or a bit like, I know it's not exactly the same because obviously it didn't go through, but when that Spotify owner wanted to buy Arsenal last year, whenever it was, and you had the ex-players come out, go, I support this bid, I back this bid. If you could get enough serious, proper, big-time ex-players going, I back this bid, this is what happens, then again, that all adds weight. It's all extra pressure. And that's ultimately what will cause this to happen. Pressure, any aspect of pressure that is, whether that's players coming out, whether that's protests, whether that's whatever, whether that, as we spoke about before, whether it's about just constantly keeping the conversation alive. And this is what we were talking about the last few weeks, wasn't it? When we came to, the night and stuff, and whether or not, you really truly, believed it or you didn't believe it. The positive with it was that the conversation was still happening. And the longer that the conversation still happens, the bigger that snowball becomes. It keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the pressure continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's the important thing right now, as I mentioned, with the minority ownership and investment as well. You've almost got to voice your opinion. You don't want that. We don't want you to get out of jail free card. We don't want any of that. We want complete change. And that happens by pressure, because to the Glazers, it's already been reported. It's not their preference to sell the entire club and completely lose all control. That's not what they want, and we can't let them get off the hook by going eventually with this Apollo firm or whatever. They go, oh, good, we did get some investment. We'll go, no, we're not happy with that. Not happy that the stadium might get built better and modernized, but you'd still be in charge. So the issue is still there. The issue still remains. Yeah, we got updated and upgraded, but the fundamental issues of Manchester United would still be there. We don't want that. Total reset, as Sir Jim Ratcliffe said, total reset. And that is what is required. Even to the point, honestly, Flex, I was thinking about this, even to the point, if you were to say, are you willing to write off this season and have an awful season, but you've got a change in ownership? Yeah. I would 100%.
Of course. It's already not about the football. That's what I mean. It's we were, the conversation shifted from, well, we're going to get the third loss in a row. We're going to get smashed by Liverpool, and it's, what's going on, and rightly so. It's the emphasis has shifted away from that, and rival fans. This is, this is where we stay away from what rival fans would do. While typical United fans just trying to shift the blame, batten down the hatches. Batten down the hatches. We need to be united within our own fan base. Yeah, 100%. Like we've got to. Like, it doesn't matter about any noise. Stay focused and stay on task. Yes, there are other little bits of blame. We know that. We've criticized players. We've criticized managers who have made bad decisions. Managers who hasn't been good enough, and little things like that. And this player's not that good at this. And why is he still here? And we've done all that. But like you said, we're going for the head. We're going for the head. And just interestingly, Miguel Delaney in the Independent, it was backed up by Laurie Whitwell, who's retweeted him saying it's top reporting. I mean, as a summary, he says at least 3 consortiums are ready in a formal bid for Manchester United, not Elon Musk. The belief is the Glazers would sell for 6 billion. United, no comment on speculation, and there's 3 main influencing Glazers position. The 3 main factors influencing the Glazers, and I've actually just pulled up the article just to give you guys a bit more in depth about that. At least 3 consortiums are circling Manchester United with a view to a formal bid. As belief grows, the Glazers would sell the club for 6 billion. Whether the bidders are willing to pay that price remains to be seen, but the Independent has been told a number of meetings between high net worth individuals and brokers since at least May, due to a growing feeling in the industry circles that the deal of the century could be on. Obviously, it goes on to talk about Sir Jim Ratcliffe as well. And it also says, a series of industry sources insist the biggest takeover in global sports history is a strong possibility within one to 2 years. And you know what? That 24 months that John Smith just said to me, like, it's just marrying up with all. It's almost like he'd heard all these things
Yeah, and
before it came, and that probably is the case. He's a really well connected guy. You know, he's been in the industry a long, long time. He would have known about these things, and that it all makes sense to me now. It says, whereas the Glazers had previously been reluctant to entertain offers, and United itself has been dismissing such rumours up to this week, a number of factors are understood to have been influencing their stance. The most relevant is the 5.24 billion price paid by Todd Bowley for Chelsea, which very few in the industry expected. The figure was seen as almost more striking because it forced the sale due to the sanction of Roman Abramovich. So, look, it's things are happening.
yeah,
Things
and
are happening.
with that article, it must be said that was written, I believe, either Wednesday morning or Tuesday evening. That was written before Sir Jim Ratcliffe's actual statement came out. Yeah, it was written. It was written like, 'cause remember we posted it to all of our socials yesterday. And again, now that would imply that one of those three consortiums is the Sir Jim Ratcliffe consortium, but they're over circling the situation at Manchester United. Also, as well, if you take into account the current share price at Manchester United, the overall value of Manchester United in terms of shares is actually something like $2.22 billion. So again, that Chelsea sale has kind of inflated situations, because it's like, well, Man United wouldn't be sold for 2.2 billion. It would be $5-6 billion. That would be what they would be looking for. But certainly, as you mentioned, and as that article mentions, and again, this was before Sir Jim Ratcliffe even went public with his intention to purchase Manchester United, people are circling Manchester United clearly within that space, within the football world. And again, this isn't like social media talk. This isn't just, backstage paper talk. Within that world, at that level, at that elite financial level, within those circles, people are talking that Manchester United could be up for sale. Those whisperings, those murmurings are there. And that's why, again, going back to Monday, that's why it has to be significant, because the Glazers, even if only when it comes to Joel and Avram Glazer, even if only 10% of them thinks that, maybe we should get out. Maybe we should get out. That's more than we've had before. That little element of doubts in their brain at this point. You have to force it home. You're onto something there, mate. Sell up. Go. You're onto something. People are interested. And that was the big thing before, wasn't it? Is that not only did the Glazers want to sell, but it costs so much money. I remember that conversation sort of a decade ago. It cost so much money. He would be able to purchase Manchester United. Well, the Chelsea situation opened a lot of doors as well, because there were multiple bidders willing to pay 4-5 billion for a club that wasn't in terms of being valued that much. So there are people that are willing to pay for it. There are people that are willing to buy it. And then again, maybe the Glazers, that's what's turned their head as well, of them going, actually, previously we weren't really open to selling because we didn't think people would actually meet their asking price. There are a lot of people that will meet it.
Well, that's this bit of that's the second factor that is described in the independent article. Basically, it says there is a fair expectation the Glazers could get more than Chelsea, which would represent a significant return on their investment. We know they're driven by money, and actually, if you say to the Glazers, and it shouldn't work like this, but we're forced to still get behind this because we want them gone. You say to the Glazers, okay, look, you bought this club on debt, ran it into the ground, kept it in debt, messed it up. Basically, it's no longer successful anymore, and you're still going to make a profit if you sell it, better than any other time. Their eyebrows are raised, and it says that feeds into the second factor, which is the uncertainty in global finance. Up to 222.8 million of the Glazers' debt is vulnerable to variable interest rates. So basically, exactly the fact that they're vulnerable in terms of those interest rates, and they could be losing money, they could actually end up selling it for more than they thought they would be able to. That's the thing. When we always used to say, or the reports would suggest that it would take an astronomical bid for the Glazers to sell. Well, Manchester United being 6 billion is that. It is that.
And
And like you
people are
said,
willing
the
to
sale of
pay.
Chelsea. Yeah, people are willing to pay. That's the thing. People are willing to pay that money. And if you've got not a bidding war, but if you've got three people at the table, well, it's a bidding war. If you've got a bidding war of people coming to the table to say, listen, we'll bid this. Well, I'll go higher. That's exactly what the Glazers want. And if that's what it takes to get them up to power, we'll get behind it. Obviously we want good owners. You have to be careful. Someone like Elon Musk, if you think about it, yeah, it was all like save us. Fucking Elon Musk. Like, let's sometimes be careful what you wish for. The Glazers are absolutely horrendous, of course, and we want them gone. Would Elon Musk be the answer? That doesn't feel right to me. But someone like Jim Ratcliffe seems a lot more credible than someone like Elon Musk, even though Elon Musk is disgustingly rich. But it is about more than that. But anyway, let's get the super chats read out. I've got them in the list here. Imran says the fact that United are now looking for loans rather than spending substantial money indicates potential change in ownership. Fingers and toes crossed. Mikel Roach says we need the fan base to unite to get the Glazers out. Agreed. David T says keep up the pressure, United fans. Apollo Global are nervous and are now disabling comments. And deleting reviews on all platforms. Hashtag Glazers out. Seb Watson says they know if we are horrible all year, the share price at the end of the season will be down so far. They want someone to bring the price up, then cash out. You would think that
that was the point, that basically they might not be able to get as much money now as they possibly can in the future, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Jake Hope says, so Ratcliffe is the perfect person to take over this club. Question is, are the Glazers feeling enough pressure to sell up? And time will tell. That's what me and Owen are talking about. Got to keep the pressure up. The noise has got to be high. We need these bidders to remain serious, to remain active, to remain on their necks. You know what I mean? To stay in the case. And I think, and until we get, I don't want to speak it into the atmosphere and jinx it, but until further notice of, it's all collapsed and it's not going to happen anymore, there's some serious, significant sources that say otherwise. I think we need to go on the side of optimism and saying, you know what, let's get behind this. Let's try and make as much noise as possible. JK says Apollo have links to Epstein, reputation muddied. I didn't know that. Obviously, that's not good. LOL too hard says differences aside between us fans and uniting to see the Glazers gone is a sight at this moment in time. I'm proud of us. Apply the pressure. Glory, glory, Man United. We do. That's what we need to do. Anything why people don't get on and stuff like that, just leave it. Leave it at the door. If we can get behind one thing, let it be this. WJ Barrett says we got to strike while the iron's hot. 100% agreed with that. Ex-players' involvement and the World Cup winning ladies at United, or the Euros, they will be back 100%. They will back 100%. Their facilities are awful. Yeah, exactly. We need investment there. And Nick says some willpower is required to wait another 2 years. It is, and that's another interesting point, that this would take longer than the Chelsea sale, because this isn't forced on by government sanctions where they need the quickest sale possible. This is happening. This is an actual proper sale of a massively football club.
Ultimately, it will take as long as the Glazers want it to take. If they have made up their mind that they have had enough, they could do. I mean, obviously, look, it's a major takeover. It's a lot of money involved. Those things do take time when it comes to lawyers and confidentiality, etc., etc. But if it comes to a 2-year kind of situation, if the Glazers want to get out, they can get out fairly quickly. It wouldn't have to take 2 years.
Well, just on that,
Owen, months, shall we say?
Well, just on that, it's interesting that you say that, because conversely to the Independent, they're saying that the due diligence on a club of this size would take 6 months in a non-geopolitically strained situation. There would then be the terms to sort. That's why analysts are putting any sales process at anywhere between a year to 2 years. One feeling is that the next few months will involve war games, as the various parties stake their positions and jostle for value before any process properly begins at the start of 2023. Right now, though, it is one of the football industry's major talking points, and it didn't need a Musk tweet for that. So basically, they're saying that that's the reason why it could take a long time, because the next few months are just about a certain, due diligence, working out where we are, jostling for value. The Glazers saying, no, it's worth this. The buying consortium saying, no, we think it's worth that. Posturing,
and also, look, if you're going to spend, I guess, $6 billion on purchasing something, you're going to want to see every single facet of that club, every single bit of paperwork. Make sure you know what you're buying, right?
Talk about due diligence, mate.
Yeah,
$6
know
billion
what you're buying.
worth,
Let's have a look at some of those.
And you're getting it off the Glazers.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Glazers as well, by the way.
Let's have a look at some of those loans. Let's have a look at this stadium. Let's have a look at this training ground. Let's have a look at all of the financials, the real financials, all that kind of stuff. And I guess,
so actually, you can see why it can take very long.
And I suppose, though, and this goes back to, would you be willing to have a horrible season or a horrible couple of seasons. Look, I'm not saying we're going to be like Newcastle,
We
but
have already.
when you had Newcastle, when it was like they were up for sale and basically they did F all and didn't buy anyone for 2 years because Mike Ashley's like, I'm not touching this club.
Exactly.
When it comes to United, I'll take that. If it means a change in ownership, I know it would be a horrible couple of years or horrible 18 months or whatever. I would still say I would take that because it gets to the eventual goal that everyone wants to get to.
Yeah, agreed. Byron Hendricks says the Glazers looking for investors, and that made public actually makes it worse for them. Would be more pressure from fans. Well, yeah, that's what's happened. The fact that this has gone public so quickly and so strongly, it is worse for the Glazers in terms of the pressure that's been applied. 100% agree with you there, Byron. And PS says Ratcliffe owns other teams, so he is experienced, unlike the Glazers. Thus, he knows the space and he loves our club. He loves our club. Says PS. And Ray Diaz says, as Ronin said in Endgame. Ronin said in Endgame. Don't know who that is. Don't remember. And I don't know who that is. Don't give me hope.
Do you know what Endgame
Owen,
is?
you can elaborate on that. Yeah, that's the Avengers thing, but I can't remember watching it properly. I don't know which. I've seen an Avengers, but I don't know which one it is.
It's the most recent Avengers film, second biggest.
No,
film
I saw the one
time.
with the stone. I saw that one.
Where
he clicked his fingers and it ended.
Oh,
Infinity War? Is that
Infinity War? Yeah, it's Infinity War.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I don't know what Endgame.
And basically, the Black Widow goes up to him and goes, "We've got a chance of getting them all back." And he takes off his mask and goes, "Don't give me hope."
What, he doesn't want hope, as
if to say, "Don't get my hopes up. I've been hurt so much."
Oh, right, okay.
If you give me hope and then it doesn't work, I'd be crushed. I'd be devastated because he's turned into a vigilante and he's killing people. It's very emotional.
Right. Okay. Hence,
it's a big bucket of hopium.
Yeah. Hence why Ray Diaz. That's a good super chat. Basically,
it's an excellent super chat.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get it now. Thank you for that. I'm gonna have to watch that. Like I say about every comic book film that I ain't seen. So yeah, especially the Avengers and that. I need to see what's going on. But if you just joined us, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We have spoke about the latest in developments about Sir Jim Ratcliffe buying the football club and what that means. And you know what? There is, there's a statement by Must now as well. That Laurie Whitwell's just put out, and it says it calls for right owner if the club is sold. And this is what the Must have had to say. The Manchester United Supporters Trust. They have to be willing to invest to restore United to former glories. Must be real new money spent on the playing side and the stadium. Also, insistence on a degree of a fan share ownership. So Must have come into the table now and being vocal. And just to touch on that, that's the bit of like, be careful what you wish for. Like, we should absolutely wish for the Glazers not to be here, but with such a massive sale, we do have to get it right. If people who have done some horrible things or don't have the right morals or the right ethos or the right intentions for the club come in and want to buy it with all the money in the world, could end up making it worse, or keeping it the same. If we don't get the right buyer, it's very important. That's something that we haven't quite got to yet, because we're just trying to establish if they want to sell the club first. Like, we're just happy that these conversations are happening. But at some point, if this continues, hopefully, Jim Ratcliffe looks like a really good option. But if there's other bidders there, and it goes to somebody else, let's say, there does need to be.
Obviously, and again, that goes back to the due diligence process involved in all of it, right? When it comes to any prospective bidder, I think, again, the reason why someone like Sir Jim Ratcliffe is so preferable to Manchester United fans is because, one, as you mentioned, he's got the funds. Two, he's a United fan. The Glazers, it's not within their best interest to see United do well, because they take the money out regardless. If we win the league, they take the money out. If we win the Champions League, they take the money out. If we finish 7th or 8th, the money still comes out, irrespective of success. They could give a damn about success. Success is just a happenstance, a byproduct. Sometimes it might happen when it comes to the Glazers, but ultimately, that's not what drives them. As a Manchester United fan, logic would think Sir Jim Ratcliffe would be involved in this to win. To be successful. I saw a quote he said, I think it was 2019, and he said, it's really frustrating when I'm down the pub, you can go there with Richard Arnold. He said, when I'm down the pub and I'm talking to my friends and everyone's taking the mick out of Man United, it's horrible. I don't like it. Essentially saying, and this is a crazy thought flex, that when you're involved in football, you're involved to win, not to make money. There's a difference. Where did the competitive nature die when it comes to Manchester United? Because that's what it's about. Manchester United, as Louis van Gaal said, it's a commercial club. It's about making money, generating revenue. It should be about generating success with revenue being a byproduct of it.
That's
It's
exactly
flipped.
just
It's
about to say
flipped
that.
at
That's the
Manchester
byproduct.
United.
100%.
It's driven to make money and success that can just happen. So again, yes, you have to get it done right, and yes, you have to make sure you do your due diligence. But just logically, it can't get much worse than owners who, again, the financial model at Manchester United is how much money can they make for us, for me, and the success. That's what happened. We'll buy a global superstar like Cristiano Ronaldo just so he can make us money by shirt sales and by having Cristiano Ronaldo. We can just say we've got Cristiano Ronaldo under contract, not because he'll come in and make us win, just because we've got him under contract and he's got however million followers on Instagram and everyone knows him around the world. So they can keep saying he plays for Manchester United. Oh, by the way, Manchester United, buy this, do this, watch this. Not lift this, i.e. a trophy. It's not about that with the Glazers. You would think when it comes to Jim Ratcliffe, it would be like, I know, heaven forbid, let's win something,
100%, because actually that's what makes you more money when your team's actually successful.
Exactly.
If you're a owner, you want the team to do as well as it can do in order to generate as much income and to keep the club successful. If you care, if you care, you'll get even more rewards. But again, it depends what you're in it for. That's the thing. If you have no love and no attachment to the football club, you couldn't give a shit whether it's awful or not. You just care that you're making, which is okay, fine. You can see people that are outside of the fan base who try to slag off United fans for even feeling like this. They say, well, that's what business is. You're entitled to take your dividends. You fronted up the money to buy it. It's yours. You can run it how you want. That's what happens. That's what surface level people say. But if you care about a football club and you care about its fans and you care about its sustainability, you want it to be the best version of itself that it could possibly be, which in turn, like you said, will give you the best possible return. The Glazers have shown their cards because they're not even getting the best possible return on what they could get. Man United is the biggest club in the world. So imagine you ran it how City are now. Imagine all the money that's gone into East Manchester and the surrounding areas, and the youth teams and the women's teams and the grassroots and the whole regeneration of the area. Imagine you did that around Old Trafford. Imagine you did that around that area of Manchester and ran Manchester United like that, because Manchester United is the only club that I know of in recent years that can have such a fall from grace and still generate the astronomical amounts of money that it generates, because it's Manchester United. Win, lose or draw, successful or unsuccessful, it is a mega institution. Forget a football club. It's a mega institution, Manchester United. It's more than a football club. It's a religion, it's an ethos, it's a culture. It's the heartbeat of so many people around the world, millions of miles away from Manchester. That's what it is. So if you run it to the best of its ability, guess what, Glazers or the next owners, you could even make even more money and keep everyone happy.
Yeah, and the definition of success is different to the Glazers. Definition of success for most football clubs is what are you winning? Are you finishing top of the league? Are you winning tournaments? The definition of success to the Glazers is how much money are we making? That's the difference, and that ultimately has got Manchester United into the position where they are now, where they're not making as much money. They make a lot. Clearly, they still make a lot, and that's still what will be in the Glazers' mind of, this cash cow. We could milk it dry, or we could get out now. And we could still make a lot of money doing it.
El Cap says, see you all at the AA meeting for hopium addiction. Yes, old chaps, we have been addicted to the hopium. And Lil Yo-Yo says, Owen, where do you buy your hopium from? Where'd you get it from, Owen?
Never reveal. Never reveal.
It's on the black market, mate.
Never reveal your sources.
And Rohit says, keep up the pressure, guys. All channels unite. So there should be no reason why that doesn't happen. We're always open to anything that may be out there about doing that. So yeah, we shall see in what the future holds in terms of that. And you never know. Everyone on the hopium, you never know. It feels a little bit weird, but there has, as Manchester United try to keep moving on and keep away from, they're declining to comment on obviously the situation with the owners and stuff like that. In the background, we've been linked to several players. The Casemiro situation, it looks like it's developing. There's Begovic, etc. But it's almost like we say we talk about this as like You're not going to distract us. You're not. You're not going to distract us. If we sign Casemiro, we don't all go, oh, you know what, that'll calm everything down. And we've been there, we've done that before. But in the background, there is some serious money being thrown at Casemiro from Real Madrid.
Yeah, it does feel slightly strange to talk about with what's going on at Manchester United, but I suppose on a day-to-day basis, the business will continue and Manchester United will still attempt to purchase players with the money that they generate and from revenue themselves. So Andy Mitten has reported this morning that Manchester United are trying to sign Casemiro and are believed to be prepared to pay around 70 million euros for the player. Now, Casemiro's contract at Real Madrid amounts to 5 million euros per year after taxes and has 3 years left on it. Manchester United's offer is believed to be substantially more than his current deal, and his contract would run for 4 more years. Casemiro reportedly, according to reports and journalists based out in Spain, is seriously thinking about Manchester United's offer, but he's due to have conversations with Carlo Ancelotti. But Real Madrid do believe that if Casemiro to Manchester United does happen, it would be done before Saturday. How are you feeling about Casemiro to United Flex? As when it first happened, we were ruling it out, but there does somewhat feel like, well, there's a lot of money involved in it. It seems like the money is kind of talking a little bit.
Typical. It's a typical Man United thing to do. There's certain players, right, in world football, in my opinion, right, that are fantastic players within the teams that they're in, and they're fantastic players for a reason. It doesn't necessarily mean that individually, if they leave that setup, they will have as big an impact as some people think. For me, Casemiro works so well in a Real Madrid side that is compact, that has quality all around it, that plays in a certain way. I don't see Real Madrid as like a high pressing team running all over the pitch. You know, that I don't see Casemiro doing that. Casemiro is a bit of a destroyer in a compact midfield that stays quite tight knit together. You've got Valverde, he's got loads of legs. You've got Modric and Cruz, whichever one starts if Valverde's on the wing. And you always have Casemiro sitting, and he has a really compact, tight knit midfield that he operates in, and it works. It works because Real Madrid are, you know what I mean, creme de la creme. Yeah. He comes to Manchester United for loads of money and all this expectancy that he's like a driving force singularly by himself. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Like, he's a great player. He comes with fantastic pedigree. You know, Varane is a great player and came with fantastic pedigree. And it took me a while to get around to this thinking, but there's a lot of reasons of why it worked for him at Real Madrid. Forget the injuries. I mean, just playing wise, you know, even when Varane does play, you want him to have that commanding kind of Van Dijk-ism about him, where it's just like, thou shalt not pass, and I can be the spearhead of this whole movement. And in the reality, it's like, you know, it's people like Sergio Busquets. Like, look what an amazing player is, arguably the best in his position has ever been. Yeah, and he's played at Barcelona his whole career with top draw players. If Sergio Busquets came to Manchester United, yeah, with Fred and McTominay ahead of him and stuff like that, with fullbacks who can't do anything, and, you know, forwards with no movement, and do you know what I mean? Sergio Busquets couldn't just come to Man United now and change everything, even with how good he is. Do you know what I mean? So I just feel like, yes, he's a great player within what Casemiro is in Real Madrid. You know, yes, we need to attract better players, and if we get more players like Casemiro, it can change in time. But I'm not sure that throwing because it's huge amounts of money at him.
That's what's tempting him by all accounts. It's
and that's what's tempting him, because it's not really football things, is it?
Yeah, no. By all accounts, it's nearly doubling his contract at Real Madrid. That's what it essentially is, and he's looking at it as there are a lot of midfield options, not necessarily ahead of me, because by all accounts, his perception is, well, I still probably am going to start games at Real Madrid, but I'm 31. It's like a 4-5 year contract. It's a huge amount of money by all accounts. He would be right up there with some of the best paid players in the league.
I think he'd just come and chill. I think he'd just get his cigars out and just chill.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you that, I mean, look, obviously he improves on midfield. That's not hard.
Yeah, of course.
That's not hard.
Yeah.
Whether he can be, he's different to Frankie de Jong, which is the interesting thing, because he's way different.
Way different profile.
Guillaume Balaguer said this on Twitter last night. It was so true. When it's not that it's a bad signing for Manchester United. The price is high and the wages are high, but he's not a high pressing player. He's a defensive midfielder, which we've needed. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. If this was last year and we said we're signing Casemiro, you go brilliant because that's how we play. We need a defensive midfielder. Maybe it's Eric Ten Hag saying, "Well, if he comes in, I'll change things a little bit. Maybe I will change that position." I don't know. It's not a bad signing, and the fact that it is possible, I'm not against that, but it's a lot of money. It's
Yeah.
it's just
And I'm not
it's a
and
lot
I'm
of
not
money.
even saying like this is bullshit. Well, I would never
You wouldn't be
have him.
annoyed if we signed
I'm
him.
not
You'd be like,
saying that.
"Well, it's a
I
decent
just
signing," but
yeah, it's decent signing. I just don't know where I just I just don't know what that looks like for me. I don't think he has as big an impact as people think he would because of the caliber of the name Casemiro.
yeah.
5-time Champions League winner, multiple titles, serial winner. Plays with Fred in the midfield for Brazil, so that'd be interesting. But,
Mm.
I just
But United
I
are
just
going.
don't
United are going big when it
it's
comes to
typical
spending.
United.
When it
It's
comes to
typical
especially
United.
this and like those Anthony reports as well. It's unbelievable.
Well, and just on that, that's the next one, isn't it, Anthony? It's
Yeah.
like, we spent all summer chasing him. Um, didn't didn't get him for the price that everyone said we should have got him. We chose to get the priority, which was the centre back first. Then we kicked on, and now we're trying to go back for Anthony for a massive amount, which
That's
is
what
only going to
Dharmesh
work
Chef is
in.
saying. Dharmesh Chef is
Dharma Chef is
saying
saying
it's
that.
being described as a quote massive offer. And when they say massive offer, that means meeting what Ajax had said. Yeah, you can give him 80 million euros or 100 million euros. That's basically what that is
Well, you
saying.
got the Frankie De Jong money there, innit? You didn't spend it, so the money that money now would be said that money wouldn't be there. One, because we don't think he's worth that, so don't do it. And two, where are we going to get that from? We had 75 million pounds tied up in Frankie De Jong. He ain't coming anymore, so that relinquishes that. And we also had other bits of money with the Frankie De Jong done still there at 75 M's. We still had other money to go look for another forward or something like that. So there was probably about another 30-40 million in there. But now you say you're not getting Frankie De Jong, all of a sudden, that's what I mean about Man United saying we've got some cash spare. Everyone knows we chased this guy for 14, 15 weeks and he didn't come. So we've got a bit of spare cash. Come put our pants down. And, if we go in and get Anthony, look, it's a player that we wanted and we needed. So look, essentially once the window closes and we get the player, if that even did happen, which I don't think it will, it could be all forgotten about if he plays well. But for me, again, it just reiterates the poor planning and again taking our focus away
Exactly.
from
It shouldn't.
the owners.
Yeah, it
You know what
shouldn't
I mean?
take
Try
away the
pacify us.
issue.
Give him Anthony now. Look, we spent
Yeah.
money. There's intent. We spent 80 million on him. Nah,
Mm.
mate, not this time.
Exactly, 100%. That's
Not
the
this
main
time.
situation. I understand. Again, day-to-day operations have to continue, and the club can't just stop based on comments or desires to sell. But it shouldn't divert our attention. 100%.
No. And in the last sort of few minutes as well, Crystal Palace are in talks with Manchester United over a deal to re-sign Aaron Wan-Bissaka for a fee of about 10 million has been mentioned. That
The
is the
loss.
Evening Standard's Nazir Kinsella, who's reporting that. Yeah, I mean, again, that would be Man United, like, wouldn't it? Buy Wan-Bissaka for 50 million. What was it, 3 years ago now, and sell him for 10. I just don't get it. Madrid Extra. I've said that Manchester United have sent their representatives to have talks with Casemiro. They have offered him a 5-year contract, big upgrade on his salary, and they'll be willing to pay 60 million euros. No official offer so far. So there's definitely something in there. There's definitely something in there, but we'll see. But the main focus needs to be what the main focus is. Yes, there's going to be transfers going on in the background, and we'll speak about those as and when. But we promise you, as a community and as a platform, we promise to keep on this Glazer thing. Keep talking about it. Keep bringing it up in the news. Keep talking about the latest developments in it, and keep it at the forefront. And yeah, there you go, guys. Smash a like on the video. Thanks for watching this morning. Subscribe if you are new. It's interesting to see what's going to happen with all of these stories coming out. Let's see what developments there are. We'll keep you up to date. Obviously, the full view is out now. The tactical show is out now from the last game, even though we're prepping now more towards the Liverpool game. We've got some great stuff coming with you. We've got an overview show coming up with you. For you guys coming out tomorrow. That's dropping. That's going to be great. We've got a match preview coming out as well for the game against Liverpool, which looks very different now. Looks very different now.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot more content to come your way. And we'll speak to you all again very, very soon. Take care. Peace.